it's always worth losing to me. It's always worth risking. And if this other side of me is not a popular one in the scheme of things as far as movie tickets go, then you know what? I'll find a way to sneak it in there. I'll make a plan. I will show myself. You know, I will find a way. And even if I'm not as popular, I will live in that area. I will expand myself. I mean, I started out with many desires as far as this business goes, and I've so surpassed all of them that it's not as meaningful to me anymore. I really love the work itself. I've examined myself on several occasions. Why am I really doing this? Am I doing this because I want to be famous? And I think there was an element to that when I started out. Sure. I wanted to be a rainmaker. We should talk about that a little further.
Well, what does that mean?
That means I think I wasn't necessarily seen as much or as intently as I wanted to be when I was a kid. I had a job, at least in my own mind, and that was to make my mother feel better. She was kind of very ill in many ways, and so it was to make her feel better. And I think ultimately, I imitated my father. He was a very funny guy, but also I felt some need, and maybe I don't know whether they created it or I created it, but I felt a need to make them feel that their life was worthwhile, that they did something special just by the very fact that they brought me into the world. Yeah. So from a very young age, I wanted to convince them that I was a miracle. And then I wanted to convince the world that I was a miracle. And now I want to convince the world that I'm just like them.
So you went from convincing first you're a miracle and then that you are just like them.
Yes.
And how does that play out today in terms of convincing the world you are just like them, that you are?
Well, what I'm finding is an interesting thing, because I have a lot of people asking me, well, are you afraid that people won't accept you? And I know that in my life, and at least in my, the circle of people I know and know my friends that know my work, it seems like, and even people I talk to, like you, it seems like people are almost waiting for it. That they suspected that there's another level to me, and they're kind of intrigued and interested in what that might be. It's that, and it's an addiction, obviously. I mean, I'd love
addiction to just knowing yourself.
Yeah, an addiction to trying to figure out, and maybe this is an impossible task, but everybody's looking for bliss, in some way or another. And I think I've come to the realization lately that bliss comes in waves, and everybody gets a certain amount of it.
Yeah.
But in between, it's just hard work being in this body.
And that it is the unwise person to expect bliss will be there all the time.
Absolutely, absolutely. But you look for it. You look for it, and you wonder why you're off the beam all the time, or whatever. So I'm constantly examining myself. I probably do it too much. I've always overthought everything.
I mean, you're reading Emerson, and you read,
Yeah, right. Which is like the big thing for me, in life right now is the excerpt from Compensation, the essay he did on compensation, where it talks about that man would see the mermaid's head but not the dragon's tail. Yeah. And this is something that happens over and over and over in my life, in relationships, in choices that I make professionally. A lot of times you just don't want to believe in the bad. But the bad is there, the negativity is there, or the obvious drawback to the situation is there, but you just go, I want. Yeah. And that comes down to the I will be done and everything biblical. So I'm always struggling with these concepts. My desire is my only problem in this world.
Your desire?
Yes.
To do your appetite?
My appetite, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. To prove everything and to be everything.
But you
It's our intention. Our intention is everything. Nothing happens on this planet without it. Not one single thing has ever been accomplished without intention. So I started thinking about my life, and I started thinking about this conference and what we're about, and I looked back and I thought, well, I was two people my whole life. I was in the living room entertaining people, being a monkey, doing my thing for the company, and trying to relieve my mother, who was suffering. She had arthritis and phlebitis and everything, everything under the sun that was nagging at her, and she was depressed. And I wanted her to be free. And I wanted her to realize that her life was worth something.